Okay, so, hello. This is a different set, this is a different view, but I want to interject. So the original plan for this video is going to make a super long, almost hour-long video talking about, the internet culture, celebrities, and everything like that. However, during editing, I'm realizing that my arrow section of the video took up like 25 to 30 minutes of the video, and then the rest of the video was just talking about the rest of the shit. So I realized that was not balanced, it was not even at all. So I decided to make the executive position for my personal sake, my personal editing sake, to split this video up into 3 parts. These parts are not going to be that very long. They're not going to be a 40-minute part for each section. They'll probably be about maybe 13 to 20 minutes per part. So, you're watching part 1. Part 1 is going to be about the background and history. And then we're also going to be talking about the eras. And the eras we're going to be talking about are 2003 through 2012. Part 2 will consist of the second part of the eras, which will be 2013 through the present. And we're also going to be talking more about the culture of how we view internet celebrities, kind of how Americans view them and how they idolize them and stuff like that. Talk more about that in depth. And then part 3, I'm going to be giving you guys kind of a go-to of what I feel like an influencers versus an A-lister. And then I'm going to be talking about opinions and kind of predictions to how maybe new social media apps can change celebrities and everything like that. So that's what I'm doing. 3 parts for you guys. They're not going to be super long. They're going to be a lot easier for me to edit. So this is just a part. We're just going to make do with it. So here's part 1. Enjoy the video, and I shall see you guys in part 2 too. Hello, Internet. How are you? If you don't know who I am, my name is Brian. I am a YouTuber, content creator, basically the biggest internet celebrity around. And today, first video I'm uploading on this channel in 2021. I know, the most professional YouTuber out there. But I have been thinking about doing a channel rebrand for the longest time now, and I feel like I finally found what I want to do with my YouTube channel. And that is fucking talk about pop culture shit, because that's honestly something that's always on my fucking brain 24/7. So I decided I wanted to write this big nice script about this pop culture thing where I wanted to talk about how social media changed the way we think about celebrities. I wrote a whole script on that, like literally a whole big ass Google Doc. Okay, so basically I wrote this big script called Popped Episode 1, How Social Media Changed Celebrities Forever. You can see that, look at that. This huge ass script. And I was going to do this really cool video where basically I just talked about it and blah, blah, blah. It was going to be nicely edited and I had nice voiceovers and shit like that. Then I realized I can't fucking read off a script for shit. So, welcome to Popped, the video series where we talk about pop culture at its finest. Anything I want to talk about, because if you want to see something and if I don't like it, I'm not going to film a video about it, because why would I do something I don't like, you know? Anyways, so the first episode of Popped, we're going to be talking about how social media changed celebrities forever. So if you're new here, be sure to hit that button, subscribe, be sure to click the notification button, get notifications on every time I upload. Follow me on all the social medias, links are down in the description down below, and let's get into this video, because I am super tired of filming this video already. Okay, anyways, let's talk about it. So basically, why did I want to talk about how social media changed celebrities forever? As you know, that we call our social media celebrities influencers. And influencers are basically the most annoying fucking people to exist. So, I kind of wanted to go a little bit of a deep dive into how YouTube and how social media really kind of changed over the years. So first off, let's get into some background and history. So I'm not going to talk about how celebrities are formed and how media changed and all that type of shit. I'm going to be talking about how the 2000s were really a kind of transitional period for traditional media. Basically, traditional media was at its highest, and then social media creeped on above it, and people weren't really fazed by it at first because, you know, traditional media isn't going away anytime soon. It is still here to this day. But once we saw influencers kind of get their notoriety and saw people prefer YouTube and social media apps over traditional media, that's when people started to panic and get kind of fucking loopy. So in the early 2000s, the internet was nowhere near new at this point, but it seemed like the world was still trying to figure out how to use it. Enter social media. The first premise of social media was a way to connect with people from your past. So basically, Facebook came around and people started trying to connect with people from their past. I don't know why they would do that. I don't know who would want to talk to me from my past, but whatever. That was kind of the first start of it. And then quickly, social media kind of changed into a way to show your true, authentic self. Enter the first internet celebrities. You know, the first internet celebrities I think of would be Fred, Cris Crocker, Jeffree Star, you know, the works, all those types of people. How these people got the rise is really different for each of them. There were two main platforms that propelled people to the highest during the days. There was MySpace and YouTube. Now, of course, I was born in 1999, so I don't really remember MySpace that much, but I do remember my sister being obsessed with MySpace. It was basically this really cool customizable site. Why am I explaining it to you? You guys have Google. You know what fucking MySpace is, right? So I think an important context we have to bring up is that people weren't really threatened by the influencer yet. Obviously, during the early 2000s, and when I'm talking about the early 2000s, I'm talking more about like 2003 to 2008. You know, those early days. When it first started out and everything like that, people weren't really afraid of the influencer at that time. There was still a pretty big gap between an A-lister versus an internet celebrity. In fact, influencers were widely looked down upon in the early days. I remember people thinking that YouTubers, you know, the internet celebrity YouTubers type of shit, they were like these no good people who had these jobs, and they were saying, you gotta get a real job and you're blah blah blah, you're not gonna get anywhere in life, you know. Those type of fucking boomers, they would always like shit down on the early days of the influencer. And however, you know, once more platforms began to emerge and more people started to kind of really like gravitate towards the more authentic type of celebrity, that's when traditional media started to get really, really scared. And I think now when you think about it, when you watch YouTube videos from like celebrities, like I know like fucking Drake Bell's has a YouTube channel. And honestly, I found that kind of really sketchy because even though Drake Bell's really fucking cool, because we were like, where were you all these years? Why did you start a YouTube channel? Obviously, you were big on Vine, but like, it felt a little bit weird. And then you saw Kylie Jenner start a YouTube channel. And then you saw also like The Rock do a YouTube channel. Like all these really weird like celebrities starting YouTube channels. It started to become pretty suspect and sus when they started to do that because they were like, what's the background? Why are you going onto YouTube? Are you threatened by YouTubers? Are you threatened by social media stars? Like, what's the information? What's the tea? Why are y'all getting so worked up about this shit? Now, as we know, with social media and everything, it is super easy to become viral. You can post one video on TikTok and blow up the next day. In the early days, it was a little tiny bit different, but I do remember early days of YouTube where you can literally just post a random fucking video of you farting weirdly and somehow you blow up and you get on all the news sources, you know. Internet was a really, really fucking weird time at that point. Now, while it was still hard to become a traditional star, I think it really started to turn to a point where influencers became something really, really easy to become, and it was more favored by fans. You know, why watch a washed-up celebrity when you can go on YouTube and find real people to relate to? That was mainly the reason why I loved YouTube, and I didn't really like all the traditional celebrities out there because, you know, they're more authentic, they more get you, they know where they're coming from a certain point and stuff like that. And obviously, you can have like normal celebrities from like TV shows come from like normalcy, but it's very different than just someone who was born into acting and then becoming an actor and blah, 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 getting it from their parents, you know. Of course, people still watch movies and they love music. This is really when pop culture really started to shift into favoring more authenticity, like I said before.
Authenticity sells, like sex sells.
Shit fucking sells. And that is truly when traditional media started to lose its shine. So now that we have background and history figured out, now let's get into the eras of YouTube. It's not only about YouTube, dumb bitch, Brian. It's not only about YouTube. Now let's get into the eras of social media influencers. Era we're going to be talking about is 2003 to 2008. So for perspective, during those years, so in 2003, I was 4 years old. So I was a little... So... kind of feels weird for me talking about this, even though I was a little bit of a child. I was a child during this time, so. And then during 2008, I was 9 years old. So, I mean, this is basically like my childhood right here, 2003 to 2008. During this era, MySpace was the place for teens to be in the early 2000s. It was where they could truly express themselves as you would. The site was extremely customizable, and it was definitely a site that I wish I got to experience during my teenage years. A big focus on MySpace was music. I remember a lot of people got their rise to fame by posting music on MySpace, and like, you know, Owl City, I believe, Jeffree Star got that. I think even like Maroon 5 and shit like that. They all got their rise from MySpace posting shit on their music, and people got record labels and shit like that. It was really, really cool for the music scene at that time. Now, along with music, videos were a pretty big part of MySpace, which is something honestly I didn't really remember. Obviously, I wasn't on MySpace, but I don't really remember videos being a big part of it, but apparently that was. And it's interesting, kind of a lot of early YouTube content that we got was honestly kind of re-uploads from MySpace, which is kind of interesting to think about. Interesting person we saw blow up from MySpace. We have Cris Crocker doing his viral "Leave Britney Alone" video. Do y'all remember that? That was an interesting time. He got his rise from freaking MySpace, which is honestly kind of cool. And then, of course, Jeffree Star, we don't talk about Jeffree Star, but he got his pretty big rise from MySpace. And of course, YouTube honestly was a big part of this too, but it was widely different back at that time. The early days of YouTube was basically a place where you saw funny videos and old video compilations, and it quickly then started to kind of turn to early vlogs, and then people started to upload daily, and then people really started to use the platform really to its potential at that point. Of course, we had the Fine Brothers, we had Fred, we had Shane Dodson.
I am Shane Yaw.
We had Smosh, and there's many other channels that quickly became icons on the internet during this time frame. Now, let's go into 2009 through 2012. This is what I would call the golden age of YouTube and the golden age of the social media influencer. So this is when things really started to shift. YouTube became more polished, and high production value led to more fans watching these early YouTubers, and these early YouTubers really found ways to kind of fund their passion and fund the way they wanted to do YouTube. I remember watching the likes of iJustine, Jenna Marbles, The Annoying Orange, and Shane Dawson. I was a Shane Dawson stan. Anyways, that happened. So, yikes. I remember during this time, many viral videos would come out, and then the people who were viral videos quickly became internet celebrities, and they kind of started to kind of milk their platform dry, until they ran out of talent and funniness. And yeah, interesting. If you don't remember something interesting, I remember Rebecca Black held like the YouTube Rewind of 2011 or 2010, probably 2011, and she got to the YouTube Rewind because she had the most disliked video on YouTube at the time, and people were so fucking rude to her. Like, I can go on a whole nother video of how people were fucking rude to fucking people on YouTube and the internet. This is also the point of time when influencers kind of started to gain traction outside of YouTube. We saw Fred film not one movie, not two movies, but 3 fucking movies in the span of 3 years. The Annoying Orange got its own fucking TV show. Like, this is the time when fucking YouTubers are starting to go all the outside traditional media, and that was when the traditional media was like, holy fucking shit, these YouTubers are gonna fucking take over the world. What the fuck are we going to do? And the funny thing is, every single time a traditional YouTuber kind of stepped outside of the YouTube space, they would always flop. Like, they would always fucking flop. Like, I always remember, like, watching Fred doing his videos on thing and then getting production and then going to fucking film movies. It would always fucking suck. It was just boring and just weird. Now, this was clearly the time when YouTube was at its all-time high. But there was a new competitor entering the competition field type of space. And that competitor was Instagram. Instagram got its start in 2010. And of course, Instagram today is very, very different from Instagram back then. I remember Instagram being kind of the place where my friends would join and we would post our cute little selfies. We'd post what we'd be eating for the day. We'd be posting our cute little rooms. It was a very, very different time of Instagram. And of course, Instagram now is very, very different. But again, we're going to get into that later parts of the video. Now, something I found really interesting is that I remember the early days of Instagram, very much traditional celebrities kind of popped on the bandwagon. And they kind of found ways to kind of use social media as a way to bridge the gap between these influencers, because traditional celebrities were able to show their personal life versus before you had to like read tabloids and shit like that. So it was interesting to see how traditional celebrities were kind of trying to find ways to catch up with influencers and stuff like that by kind of sharing their personal life and kind of trying to gain off of that authenticity type of vibe that I was talking about before. So 2009 and 2012 was really kind of the way we kind of saw the divide between the influencer versus the A-lister. We did start to see a huge flux of big star news like tabloid drama and job websites picking up onto influencer culture. And the tides are really starting to shift during this time. But Instagram really didn't start becoming an influencer paradise until later on in the years. However, in 2013, there was another app that kind of joined the party and really kind of changed the way we saw YouTube. And that app was Vine. R.I.P. R.I.P. Vine. R.I.P. Vine. Alright guys, thank you guys for watching part 1. Part 2 will be up shortly, I promise you guys, as soon as I can make it. And then of course part 3 will be up after that. But thank you guys for watching. Once part 2 is posted, I'll make sure to put a direct link in the description down below. Be sure to hit that button, subscribe, and click notifications. Get notifications on when part 2 comes up. and I shall see you guys later. Thank you guys for watching the video. Peace out.